belong, what is and what was. Take hold of your iman, don't give it to shaitan. Oh, who you believe, give thanks to Allah. He is a creator, He is a sustainer, and He is the one who has power over all. Thank you.
That was really good, and you see how the directress needs to be updated, because when she said "Not" by Michael Jackson, I was behind time, and when from my time, the Michael Jackson, I know you think about break dance and all that, so I didn't know that eventually he did that. So, and keeping in the month of Ramzan, that's a lovely thing. Anybody have I left out?
हम सब आ गए कल मुझे पूरा नहीं आता बट ओके आई थॉट ऑफ अ रिलीजियस पोएम बट ओके अच्छा ओके I want to do action, so I cannot use two hands, just one. किसने बनाया फूलों को फूलों को फूलों को, किसने बनाया दरख्तों को दरख्तों को दरख्तों को, किसने बनाया तितली को तितली को तितली को, किसने बनाया परिंदों को परिंदों को परिंदों को, किसने बनाया हम सबको हम सबको हम सबको हम सबको बनाया अल्लाह ने, हम सबको बनाया अल्लाह ने. हम सब बात गए कल, ठीक है, शाबाश करेंगे, पूरी नहीं आती. हम सब आ गए कल, राह में आ गए बादल, हम सब आ गए कल, राह में आ गए बादल, टिप टिप फुहार पड़ गई, अपनी पिकनिक हो गई, टिप टिप फुहार पड़ गई, अपनी पिकनिक हो गई. शावा भाई शावा शावा भाई शावा शावा भाई शावा शावा भाई शावा. Thank you very much.
End of the music session, but keeping everything in mind, keeping the child's absorbent mind, the sensitive period, I'm sharing something personal with you. And that is, when my son was born, he was just 2 months, and I used to sing a lullaby for him, a lori, which I just created, just tapping him to sleep, I would sing it. And till about he was 6-7 months, I used to do that every night. And then afterwards, I never sang again. And then one day, when he was about 3.5 or 4 years old, he was repeating the same lullaby, lori, exact tune, exact words, and I was like shocked. And that was the Montessori theories that long ago mothers would sing and so on, because his language is being developed. So never think the child is too small. People will laugh at you. You are telling a story to 1 month child, but that is being absorbed and it will be reproduced. So it's very personal. I'd like to share that with you.
Yes.
मेरा शहज़ादा है, परियों का राजा है, कहाँ से तू आया है, कहाँ तुझे जाना है, जहाँ जहाँ जाएगा हमें संग पाएगा. मेरा शहज़ादा है, परियों का राजा है. चांद सितारा तू, आँखों का तारा तू, दिल की धड़कन है, सांसों की खुशबू तू, मेरा शहजादा।
I think that was beautiful because thing which comes from here. Most of the people.
It's original, the tune, the words, and of course it was the inner feeling. And my son, if he was here in the workshop, he will reproduce the same tune and everything. And that is the Montessori and the child. So that brings us to a nice music session, end to the music lecture. And next, the tempo, the mood is going to change when we focus on history as a culture subject in the Montessori environment. And for that, it is Mrs. Batul. Miss Batul, ma'am.
After such an interesting, is the mic working? Yes. Okay. After such an interesting, fun-loving, soothing session, history. History is something, not always, but majority of the time. For the adults, yes, it is so many times boring. For the school goers, it is boring. But from the child's perspective, if you keep telling to the child the stories from the past, is it boring? No. So the thing is, nothing is boring or nothing is very interesting. Everything lies how you present that thing to the other person. So that is the dilemma for history, that majority of the time the history is not presented in such a beautiful way. Okay, apart from that, whatever way the history is presented, why history should be given to such a small children? Why history should be given? And what is the importance of history in child's life especially? And he knows the traditions, but the tradition should be living alive in us. It should not become the history. Those traditions which are good, it should be alive within us. We should not make it die कि वो हमारी history बन जाए. For example, very good point. I wanted to discuss it later. Let's discuss it now. So many morals and etiquette behavior. For example, respect for the adults and for greeting guests especially in our Eastern manner. This is very much good. That is liked by the whole world. But today's world, it is gradually towards the decline. It is gradually become the history. Should it be? It should not be. So we have to be very careful किस चीज को history बनाने दें और किसको ना बनाने दें. Especially those moral and etiquettes and good behavior, we should not. Yes, things like too much expenditure in shadi and mehendi and stupid rasumat like that, jahez and such things, we should make them history. We should try our best कि हम इन चीजों को history और past की कहानियां बना दें. Present में ये चीजें exist ना करें. Okay, coming back to the original point. Coming back to the original point about history, importance of history. Because if as a directress you know the importance of history, then you think about imparting those knowledge to the child. Look, either it could be a religion, like all the lecture I was hearing, either it could be a religion, music, related to anything. Things started popping up in my mind. Oh, it is history. It is history. This story is somewhat history. So everything actually is interconnected. All the subjects are interconnected. And especially history, because whatever happened in the past, either to the human being or to a geographical place, to animals, for example dinosaurs, they are now extinct. Anything happened in the past becomes the history. And Why it is important for the child to know? Because when he know that, he learns some lesson out of it, and above all the lesson, because each individual history case brings some different lessons, but in general, if I talk about history, one main particular lesson is that it brings transformation. The human man, the mankind can bring transformation, can bring major changes on this earth, in this universe, isn't it? How we live in the past and how human beings are living today. How birds are living in the past and how birds are living today. How lions were living in the past and how they are living today. If you compare just the living, what the child is going to learn through it. What the child is going to learn. The birds used to live in the nest thousands of years back. Lion used to live in the cave thousands of years back. But human being now, years back, he might transfer the positive thing. 8 generation ke baad, they are in any part of the world, Africa, America, Canada, even Israel, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, you name any country, and everybody, all the child, regardless of their religion, they are going to love each other, because at the end of the day, we all are human. And if we all are human, we have to make that contribution towards it. And this is how the history is going to help us, because if you take out the history of humanity, how human develops and transforms, this is the biggest lesson. We think, being a Montessorian, we think that this is a lesson and we should transfer that to the child. Thank you.
That was definitely very thought-provoking, Batul, because history really just gives you the concept of history. Facts and figures, years, fights, wars. But in line with Dr. Maria Montessori's thought, citizen of not even the world, the whole universe. We belong to these countries, and barriers and differences are just man-made, created, and give present things and present result will be done. You can take around a look what timeline is all about, and how you can brainwash, or what you can pour into the tiny minds of the child. So eventually, someday, somehow, there would be peace on earth. There would be, inshallah. Because we have the child in our hands, and the future of the world remains in the hands of the child. History is the cousin or the twin brother or sister of geography. These two are the two sides of the same coin. They are very much interrelated. So we are going to conclude today's session by having the brief introduction to geography as well. Then you will have your break. So for geography, I'd like to call upon Mrs. Meher Javed. What is geography and how it should be introduced in the Montessori environment. Let's give her a warm welcome. And definitely, don't you think she's dressed so gracefully and nicely and representing one of our culture?
Yes.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. And my topic, geography. Geography is very much closely related to history. And Maria Montessori also calls it like, it is part of two things. One side you see one picture, and the other side you see the other picture. So geography is like that. It is very much closely related to history, and at the same time, history is called the study of man, and geography is called the study of land. So in his geography, you will find out different things which are related to the environment, which are related to the things around you. Geography again can be divided into two parts. One is the natural part, which you see around you every day as the mountains, the lakes, the seaside. These are things which you will see and which the child can also witness for himself. He can experience the water and the land on the seaside. He can feel the different things, the different types of soil, the mountains when you take the child out. So that's why Maria Montessori believed in a lot of exposure for the child. Take the child out, child will be able to witness all these things by himself. He will be able to gain the real life experiences. But if you see the material for geography, it has a lot of variety. It can be related to EPL, the basic exercises of EPL such as pouring, and for that we have the molds, we have the material displayed out here, you also. Here's the material for geography, and here the child can pour water as he has learned to do pouring in EPL. Then the concept is clear that this is the land in the center and it is an island. When there is water in the center, it is a lake. So in this way we have 3 sets of molds for the child to work with. It is not to be done in one day, slowly and gradually as the child is learning more, we introduce the different geographical features. Then we have 2 types of globes. One with the land and water formation and one with the continents. So here the child is able to experience the different aspects of the world. Then we have the maps, and one is the map of the country. So through different experiences with the real life, and the child is able to process the real life activities. Take the child to the seaside, he will be able to feel the sand, he will be able to get an impression in his mind, which is a sensorial impression, and it will stay for a long time to come. You feel that the child is relapsing in that natural environment. Maria Montessori always encouraged the child to be close to nature. And how it can be done? It can be arranged through the visits to the natural spots. Once the child has experienced that, by language. So a lot of language activities are also given to the child. As the child is experiencing, we can introduce the flashcards, we can experience the different things which the child is seeing, but language has to be introduced at that time. So geography is a part of your culture. It cannot be separated from the other things. And first we introduce the whole to the child, but as the child is in the home environment, first he is getting impressions from the home about his own culture, about the things which are going on. If you look around in your home today, you will find the activities related to Ramzan. The sehri, the iftari, the prayers, the recitations of the Holy Book. Everything is going on, and child is accepting that as part of his culture. It is a religious aspect, at the same time it is also a part of the culture. So child directress should have the basic knowledge about all, so she can give a good background to the child and encourage him to develop an understanding of all the cultural subjects, not putting them in separate categories, but just for the sake of learning and following the interest of the child. The directress should guide the child's internal needs and instincts at that time, so he develops a love and understanding for the cultural subjects.
What have you understood? Since morning everybody is coming and we are speaking about culture and history, music, geography, religion. What have you understood? Give me one sentence that can summarize all that we have done. Culture is a way of life. Culture is complete life. And without any, it will remain incomplete. Without any.
मैथ्स की फाइल नहीं है क्या है
fair distribution, and we'll have them all in the end when you're all well seated. Fair enough? I've been using this expression quite many times recently. You have the program, and you know, sometimes some real problems can occur. According to the program, you can see the next lecture is by Mrs. Ikrat Fatma. Unfortunately, she is suffering from extreme hives coming every day. Now, what happens in a situation like this? Of course, I can always fill in the blank, say a few words about science, but the new team with us, like Shumaila and Amina, they are there, and I was telling Shumaila, listen, I'll say a few lines about the introduction to science. I just want you to, you know, as I even pointed out before, that I am personally lacking in the new technology. So I told her, whatever it is, your PowerPoint and all that, or your mobile or WhatsApp, just give me the definition of science. So I can just, and that was 5 minutes ago. Shumaila and Amina was also just there with her. She showed me, and look, London Montessori International 15 days workshop Introduction to Science by Ma'am Anjum Akhtar. This transformation took place in 5 minutes. And that is the LMI spirit. That is the teamwork. That is the contribution. Not that, why should I do this work for Ma'am Anjum? And people will end up clapping for her and she will win the show. And I should say, why should I say that Shumaila did it? Let me take all the credit myself. If all of us have this open heart towards the growth of Montessori, towards the growth of LMI, I'm trying to now, this is my training, I'm going to try to talk and read also what's written, as I have seen in this workshop. Ma'am Nadia Salahuddin did it, Ma'am Nazra did it, they did it last year and so on, and I think it's high time we all get into this, because it's high time, it's the requirement of the time. So, introduction to science. Yeah, let's go. And I was asking her, what am I supposed to do? Shall I read first and then? So, what is science? Science is the study of systematic facts. The main characteristic of science includes effect and scientific approach. Next. And what about Dr. Maria Montessori? How does she define science? What she has to say about science? She says, if you find a treasure, that is knowledge, place it at the feet of the child that he may preserve. The preservation of culture depends on how far the child understands it. That is what she says about science. Those people who are illiterate do not have a scientific culture. And then there would be experiment related to science, sound, magnifying glass, air, water, magnet, and simple circuit. That was the visual aid, visual help, and an instant work done by Shumaila. Have you ever thought about, sometime when we think about science, words like physics, because I don't know about the education system here, but abroad, in certain class you have to decide whether you want to take arts or science. And in science you get subjects like physics, chemistry, biology, botany, zoology. Although they are considered as separate subjects, but they are science. The rotation of the world. Why does the sun comes out in the morning? Why? Why does the sun set in the evening? Why don't you see stars in the daytime? Why can you see only the moon in the night? Why there is no bright light at night? Why there is such bright light? How does it rain? 10 years ago. Now it has become, we may not get oxygen to breathe, but we cannot survive with mobile. Is that right? Is that science? Yes, it is technology, it is progress, and that's what civilization is. So in order to progress, we need to focus on science. Thank you so much. And thank you, Shimaya. Who's next? Assalamu alaikum. Is it Amina? Okay, now just to end up the last two equally important introduction to
And the life of animal kingdom. Whereas if we break this word into two, then the first one is zoo and the other one is logi. Zoo means animals, the place where we keep animals, and logi means studying. So it is all the studies related to animals, the lifestyle which they are having, where we can find different animals at what region. So it is all about the study we give to the children related to animals. Now the question is that why we introduce zoology in the Montessori environment? What is the reason for introducing zoology with the rest of the cultural subjects? So I find out three major reasons to introduce zoology in the Montessori environment. Reason number one is that it helps the children in the evolution to learn the children will learn how the animals were evolved. What were prehistoric animals which we find on the earth. Then the second reason is that how animals are useful to man. Some animals like dog, it take care of our house. It is useful to man. Camel, donkey, cow, goat, sheep. These all animals, how they are useful to man. This is the other reason which we need to teach the child. And the third reason is that, as I said, that the children will learn about the district. There's 5 main classes. The first class of zoology is mammals. Then the other one is amphibians, birds, fish, and reptiles. Now let us see into each detail and let's see what mammals are. Mammals, they are basically the warm-blooded animals and they feed their young ones. Now you can see over here that I have made 2 mammals over here and it gives you a very easy description about mammals.